In lieu of the Toronto Blue Jays making their first big signing of the offseason, the shocking truth has been revealed behind the Jeff Hoffman signing, as multiple reports have come out revealing some shocking information regarding the signing. We're going to break down that and discuss what this means going forward for the Toronto Blue Jays, as this has Jays fans very intrigued. Stay tuned for all that in this episode, folks. But before we get into it, quick reminder, we are very close to 15,000 subscribers. If you want to help us towards that goal, this is the place to be. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. We do daily Jays content. Thank you guys for your continued support as well. It means the world to myself and Peter. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of things to go over today, and it's going to be very, very interesting because some reports have dropped. Now, obviously, we made the video yesterday as soon as the signing happened, right away. And I see a lot of you guys in the comments talking about this thing, and some more details have just come out as well, or came out late last night. So it's let's dive right into it. Now, we obviously know Jeff Hoffman, phenomenal closer, one of the best, if not the best, alongside Tanner Scott relievers available on the market. There's no doubt about it. We'll dive into this stuff later. But a report dropped from Robert Murray, and this is obviously from Schneider. He clarified some things, and the report basically said that the Orioles offered him a 4-year or 3-year, $40 million deal. It was accepted, but Orioles backed out of it because Jeff Hoffman failed the physical. There's some risk here, without a doubt. At the same time, a person familiar with the discussion says the Orioles made Hoffman a revised offer following that physical, so they still liked him enough to continue pursuing him below the $40 million threshold. But Baltimore ultimately pivoted to Andrew Kittredge, and the Jays, who have been pursuing other established relievers as recently as a couple days ago, focused on Jeff Hoffman. So a few different things here. Again, it came to fruition, and you can see this here. So on Friday, the Jays announced the move. Hoffman and the Orioles reached an agreement on a 3-year, $40 million contract earlier this week, sources say. The Orioles, however, flagged Hoffman's physical. 2 sources say it was his right shoulder, and ultimately signed the right-hander to a 1-year, $10 million deal. So comes out, and the initial report from Robert Murray was that the Orioles signed him, and he failed the physical because of two reports because of his shoulder. But Schneider comes out and reveals even more information, basically saying that even though they failed the physical, the Orioles still offered him a revised contract. So this kind of can let out a collective breath of relief for Jays fans, because when this initial report came out from Robert Murray, basically highlighting the fact that the Orioles, he failed the Orioles physical, everyone was thinking, okay, well, the last time this happened with the Jays was Kirby Yates, and ultimately he didn't play at all. Fair enough. But now for Schneider to come out and clarify that the Orioles still offered him a deal, clearly he's not hurt to the point where he couldn't perform. The Orioles just didn't feel as comfortable with giving him $40 million, let's say. And that's where the Jays and Ross Atkins came in and really did a good job here, because they got him under his $40 million projection. They got him at 3 years, $33 million. But that extra 7 or 6 to 7 million is going to be made up in inning counts and other incentives. Whether he hits 60, 70, 80 innings pitched this season, then he gets obviously incentives based off of that. So it was wonderful work by the Blue Jays to obviously, you can make the joke that we're going to be finalists and runners-up once again. Whether or not they had offered that same 3-year, $40 million deal, we don't know. But what we do know is that they got him at 3 years, 33, can go up to 3 years, 39. And essentially, the Jays did a great job here. They got a very good player, but I know a ton of Jays fans are worried, saying we got damaged goods, all these things. According to Schneider, the Orioles still offered him a contract. Now, clearly, the Jays beat that contract, so maybe it was 3 years, $30 million, and the Jays is 3 years all the way up to $39 million. But regardless, you're getting one of the best relievers in baseball, unbelievable peripherals, and it's very intriguing, and we're going to dive back into this. But regarding the Jays' plan going forward, while the Jays like the idea of adding a starting pitcher and bumping Ariel Rodriguez to the bullpen, Hoffman will not start. Some teams like the idea, but he said he's preferred bullpen work. That means Rodriguez's chance of starting seem higher, though people close to the Cuban right-hander say he's content in either role. So I'm not going to rule out, and I'm hoping Shai Davidi here isn't ruling out the acquisition of a starter. I still think the Jays have a ton of work to do, but the feeling around the team right now, the feeling around Jays Nation is a lot more calm and a lot more optimistic than it was 24 hours ago. And that's because you got one of the big fish. Is it the big fish like Corbin Burns? No, but it is the big reliever fish. And obviously Tanner Scott projected to get 4 years, $80 million. He's probably the best reliever on the market, but Jeff Hoffman was a very close number 2 there. And yeah, there's some, concerns regarding his shoulder and things like that. But what we do know is that the Orioles still offered him a deal, and they've been very diligent with who they offer deals. The Orioles have done this in the past where they pulled out offers. And ultimately, I'm happy with what the Jays did here. A phenomenal contract. And if he's only going to get to the $39 million, if he goes out and he gets injured or there's some issue with the physical, he's not going to reach the inning totals anyway. So you're still at that $33 million. It's a calculated risk. It's very Blue Jays. But what's not Blue Jays is the fact that, when I say Blue Jays, I mean, of course, what's not familiar to this front office is signing a reliever to $33 million. And again, he is one of the best relievers in baseball. Last season put up a phenomenal 2 WAR, which is shocking. And we know that the thing hit a snag. We know there's a lot of different reports out there, very intriguing stuff there. But again, it becomes interesting now. And this is, I believe, the first time in 10 plus years that the Toronto Blue Jays actually went out and got a reliever and they signed him to a big contract. And of course, the contract that they signed him to was the 3 years, 33 million with, bonuses and elevators up to 39 million. But when they saw Baltimore pivot to Andrew Kittredge, they said, okay, this is our chance. And the fact that it is a little bit concerning. And the Orioles, however, flagged his physical. Sources say, again, it was his right shoulder. So that's his throwing shoulder. He is a big guy. He throws absolute gas. He's one of the best. He can touch 100 miles per hour. He is, erratic at times, but he still doesn't walk a ton of people. He is one of the best. He averages 96 miles an hour. And when you think about the Jordan Romano thing, when they let him go for 7-ish million, this is obviously a rise about 6 million per year, according, compared to Jordan Romano. But letting Jordan Romano walk for 7-ish million this is why they did it. They set themselves up to, go for a bigger fish. Now, did I think they were going to go for one of these guys? Absolutely not. Is it concerning that they kind of, got the guy, damaged goods per se? I don't think it's damaged goods by any means, but I do understand the premise of that. I'm not really concerned about it. I was initially a little bit, but once Schneider comes out and says, hey, Orioles also made him a revised offer. If they made a revised offer to him, then clearly he's fine in the sense of it wasn't going to stop him from making an offer. Probably a decreased offer, sure. And the 3 years, 40 million is exactly what Spot Track had him at. And the Jays got him at a discount. And if he ends up being healthy, it's going to be a steal of a contract. If he ends up being a little bit iffy, then it starts to get a little bit concerning. But at the end of the day, the Jays made a great signing. They made a great move, and they made a great decision by going back in. And we heard reports of them being interested in Estevez and them being interested in a lot of the relievers, Tanner Scott. And like Shai says, as recently as a couple days ago, I think Hoffman is probably the best option for the Toronto Blue Jays. I mean, Tanner Scott would have been great because he's a lefty and he is a very good one. But I don't think the Jays were ever going to go up to, $80 million on any reliever. This is obviously already the biggest reliever contract they've, given out in a very long time. And the biggest under the Ross Atkins era, I believe. So it's like, if it's the Ross Atkins biggest relief contract, if it's Ross Atkins' biggest relief contract ever, we'll take it with a grain of salt if they were going to go out for get Tanner Scott. But man, oh man, let me know down below what your thoughts are on this. 3 years, 33 million. They need to keep making moves. Follow this up with Anthony Santander. Follow this up with a left-handed reliever that is going to cost a ton of money. Follow this up with more power. And this Jays team can compete in an AL East, which is very solid, but not quite as good as it was last year. The Orioles, they're making interesting moves. They're spending a lot of money, but not really to get quality players. The Yankees, of course, went out and got a ton of big splashes. And then the Red Sox, they're doing okay as well. But with the Rays being horrible, the Jays have hope. I mean, maybe horrible. They're usually good every year, but it is what it is. The Jays have an opportunity here. And if they just go ahead and strike, they started with Jeff Hoffman, a phenomenal signing. They need to continue going there. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on this. Thank you guys for watching. I'll have another video later today for you all. Cheers.